Hi, this is Barry here, and you're very welcome to today's podcast episode on writecom.com. And today we're going to have a look at how to get more done in less time. Now, if you're listening to this podcast episode and you think it's going to be filled with all these productivity, life hacks and all this, you're going to be sadly disappointed because it's not full of that. You know, for many of us, sometimes we think that we need to learn all these different hacks. We need to learn all the shortcuts and all that. And, you know, we go away and we read the books and we go and search for all the apps that's going to make a difference in our time management and whatever it is, it's going to make a big difference and it's going to get us, help us get that project done, faster. Where in fact, maybe, the time that you spend, looking for books, reading books, working on your time management skills and learning how to be more productive or whatever it is, that time would actually be better if you actually just focus on the project that you were supposed to be doing. When you want to get more done in less time, the only way you're actually going to do more is to actually focus on what needs to be done. Maybe you want to write a fiction book. Maybe your dream has always been to, see a book in the Amazon Kindle store, or maybe to see it on, in Barnes & Noble or somewhere like that. And you'd love to see a book, and, you've been planned for years. You have this perfect storyline, and maybe, you have maybe 80% of it plotted out, but there's 20% of it that's just not there. Maybe there's a scene or something that, you can't work out, and because of that, then you're holding back and you're not writing that fiction book. Maybe you want to create a blog, but, and WordPress is probably the best way to go, but very little about WordPress. Everybody's talking about WordPress, but to you, it just, it seems like you're going to be, flying the space shuttle or something like that. There's so many settings, there's so much information, and you're bogged down, and you need to know everything about you. You're reading maybe manuals on what's the best settings to do, how should you set your blog post up, why should you do this and how you should do that, and you're probably bogged down in the little details, and those details are holding you back from actually sitting down and typing out your first blog post, because you feel that you need to know 100% of the information before you can begin. But unfortunately, with things like WordPress, because they're constantly evolving, even if you knew the 100% of the information today, something in the software is going to change tomorrow, and then you're going to need to learn something else, and you're going to need to learn something else. And, if you keep kind of going along with this mindset of that you need to know 100% of the knowledge before you actually take action, you're never going to get started. You're going to keep kicking that can down the road. You're not actually going to, set up that blog, write that first blog post, where in fact, some people actually maybe just set up a WordPress blog today, haven't got a clue about the settings or haven't got a clue about anything else, and they're not concerned about it. They're just concerned in writing the blog post. And you will find people maybe that have on the very, very first day they put the software together, they write the first blog post, and then you're going to find other people maybe like yourself who are just obsessed with the details. You need to know all the details, and maybe you're obsessed too with your how perfect your storyline needs to be for your book, and that scene is just, it's like the snag that's holding you back. And if you just got that scene right, you would be able to work it out, instead of actually just working with what you have at the moment, getting in the process of writing that book. And you will find then sometimes that when you're actually writing the book, that sometimes actually storyline will take maybe a different direction than you maybe never even seen before, when you had just the bare bones of the storyline that you had plotted out. And you'll probably find out maybe that scene that was holding you back isn't actually ever going to make its appearance in the finished item. And for a lot of people, we get bogged down in the details, and we think that we need to know everything to do to get started on whatever it is. Just for example, I was just listening to it was a training session Sean Mize had done. He's a well-known internet marketer, and Sean had brought up the topic of this legacy project. Most of us might have this legacy project, whether it's just simply maybe seeing our fiction book in the store, or maybe you have this, maybe you would like to have one of these blogs that has maybe thousands of people coming every day, and people are hanging on every word you say, and you're making a change into people's lives, and maybe have this grand goal that you like to be somebody that's motivating people and making them be more than they are, and maybe this is the project you have. And he said that some people have this kind of legacy project, but he said they get bogged down in the details. And he just had a couple of callers on the line, and he just, put the question out to the people there. Was there anybody who had a legacy project, that they would love to see going, but, again, they were bogged down in the details, because he was going to try and give them a little bit of a coaching session and help them get out of it. And it was funny, one of the callers put up his hand, and he said that yes, he had this this legacy project he wanted, and he's been wanting it for 14 years. He's been telling his family, he's been telling his friends, he's been telling everybody that this is the thing that he wants to go and do. So Sean just said to him, well, what did you think of the session we've done so far on the phone call? Do you think it's got you motivated? Do you think it's it gets you excited? Would you like to get started today? And he said, well, yeah, I'm really excited. He says, but I've already got it done. Now, Sean didn't react to that, but I paused for a second and I said, what? It's already done? And yeah, he had the project already finished and it was sitting on the hard drive on his laptop. And I don't know how long it had been sitting there. It could have been sitting there for years. But he thought that, it wasn't 100% perfect. It could have been maybe 80% there. And rather than, going and getting that 80% and just launching it and see how it goes and, tidy it up as it goes along or edit it when it's out and it's live. And, if it's a training session, maybe if it was lacking something, he would find out from getting feedback from the customers and he could rework the thing, but actually getting it out there and getting it. But the fact that it was actually lying on his hard drive, that course or whatever that he was made, it wasn't training anybody, it wasn't motivating anybody, and it wasn't adding anything to his life. It wasn't bringing him any closer to this legacy project goal that he wanted, because it was just lying there on his hard drive. And like for 14 years he had this notion he wanted to create that. And so many of us get bogged down the details. Like that gentleman, like that, it could have been, maybe it was, maybe needed a 10% or 20% kind of spit shine, or a little bit of editing or something like that. And rather than just saying, right, I'll go with it, I'm going to release it, even though it's 80% ready. Like, for example, if you look at all the iPhones and the iPods and all that, like when they originally came out, like the first ones were terrible, like the battery life was useless and all those different things. And, we had a version 2 and a version 3. But for some of us, we think that we need to hit the ground running. We need to launch that perfect fiction book. We need to, know everything about WordPress to create this wonderful, WordPress blog, rather than just writing a blog post every single day and worrying about the details later on. Have a look and see what your audience think. What got to me thinking then was, even like, imagine if that man had held on to that legacy project for 14 years and then say maybe he did get the courage up to it, got it 100% ready and then launched it. And what if it tanked? How heartbreaking would that be to think that all those 14 years was wasted, when he could have released it after the first year, 13 years from that point now, how great would that project be? He could always kind of go back to it again, re-edit it, do videos for it, or whatever else needed to bring that project and make it into the greatest thing. But because he had this idea that had to have it 100%, if it fell apart now when he did release it, I imagine it would be heartbreaking for him, because, he'd wasted all that time rather than getting in, throwing up the roughest version he could and seeing how it went, seeing what the audience thought of it. Like, for example, even though I'm speaking to you on these podcast episodes, I know my podcast episodes, I know I've got a lot to learn. I know I haven't, I've just done the basics of it. I haven't even thought about interviewing people for the podcast or doing this or doing that. I just wanted to get in there, give it a go, see that I like it, and then after that, then, I can find out all the details. I can find out where are the best websites to go to promote it, what kind of promotion things I could do, what way can I monetize the podcast better. But I decided just to push all that down. That's further down the line, and just take action on it. Just get a couple of podcast episodes up, see how it goes, see do I like it, and that's why I highly recommend you should do the same. No matter what it is, even if you've never written fiction before, don't wait until you're the perfect author. Get your work out there. Whatever it is, even if you think it's rough, you don't know, it might take off, but you will get feedback from it. You get experience from it. When it comes to writing your second book, you're going to be a lot, and, have a lot more knowledge, be more mature then when it comes to writing a second book from it. But if you're holding off for 5-10 years until you have the perfect storyline and everything's going to be, it's the same then too, even with authors and mailing lists and stuff like that then too. Everybody's waiting for, holding off for the perfect magic number of subscribers they're going to have on their list. They're holding off because they're not too sure how to write an email. How do I come up with the perfect subject line, and how should I promote my book in it, instead of actually just giving it a go, writing the roughest emails they can, and over time then the more you do it, the more experience you get, and the better you get at it. And I think it's sad, like when I see gentlemen like that, who's wasted 14 years on this legacy project because he didn't have, he wanted it to be 100% perfect. And, if you are one of those people who are around looking for productivity hacks, or just totally just distracting yourself, doing something that isn't bringing you closer to getting that thing done, if you wanted to get that fiction book released in, and get it written in the next 90 days, you'd have no problem doing it. If you just solely focus on that and just said, right, 90 days from now, my fiction book is going to be finished, whether it's good, bad, I don't care, but for 90 days from now, I am going to write the end on the end of the manuscript, and I'm going to launch it and see how it goes. Even if you push yourself and wrote in 60 days or 30 days, even if you said, right, I'm going to launch a blog today, I haven't got a clue about WordPress, but I'm going to write one blog post today, and I'm going to see how it goes. Who knows? You could be holding off for all this knowledge in WordPress or all the stuff about blogging. And, when you do actually go maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, when you think you're ready, you might find maybe that, you hate blogging. when you write I would rather that you started today, wrote a week's content in your blog and had a look and see, well, do I like blogging? And maybe you'll be well finding out now if you like your blogging, if you like doing your fiction writing or whatever it is, rather than, waiting until you're ready. Get the experience now and find out if you like it, because for all of us, the clock is only going one way. We're all getting older, we're all getting less time to do all these different things, and if you don't kind of draw a line in the sand today and say, today is the day I'm going to write it, I'm not going to wait until I'm 100% ready. Okay, maybe I've only got 60% knowledge that I think I have. Go launch it, whatever it is, whatever action you need to take, do it today. Don't kind of look around for productivity hacks or whatever it is. If you want to get the stuff done, get it done, and no matter how rough it is, it can always be improved later on, and you can always bring a second version, a third version, like the iPhones and the iPods that will improve, and by the time those couple of years have passed, when you originally had thought you would have been ready, you would have had a great product, you would have a great fiction career or whatever it is by taking action now. So that is how to get more done, is actually just to take action with what you have. If you have a limited budget, if you have a limited knowledge, limited experience or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just take action and learn along the way. The money will come later on, the audience will come later on, your writing skill will improve later on. Don't wait for it now. Just work with what you have, and you'll be really glad that you did. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope it motivated you to take action and just not to put off on your dreams, because at the end of the day, we all don't know how long more we have in this lifetime, and if you have this kind of burning desire to get something out there, get it out there, even if it's in the roughest form, and you'll be so glad that you did. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, I would really, really appreciate it if you'd share it with one more person, or if you just put a mention on social media, it would be really, really great. And as well too, if you would like to know more about me, or if you'd like to know more topics of selling books and growing your audience and how to get book reviews and all those things, I highly recommend if you come on over to the WriteCome site. If you just come over to writecome.com, I've got a great free report here, and it's called Words, Wisdom and Winning, and you can pick up a free copy if you just drop by. So as always, thanks for sharing your time with me again today, and take care and have a great day. Bye bye.